All right, this is going to be Reelin' in the Ears by Steely Dan. We're going to start out with the chords that happen in the intro. There's a little solo going on. We're just going to play these chords. We got G, and we have A major. So 0003 and 222 open. And our strum is going to be. So that's a 1, 2, and 3, and 4, but it's in that swing feel, that swing beat, kind of bluesy thing. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, so you kind of wait on that. Those are like triplets with the middle one missing. It's like 1, 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a. But you just think about the 1, 2, 3, 4, and we just repeat that. So it's 2 bars for G, 2 bars for A. So let's try that. 2, 3, and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Going to A. And now we're going to hold that one and we're going to get into the verse. We have this little, we'll just follow this melody of the verse chords kind of thing. We're going to go. Okay, and then we're back into the G and A chords. So let's take a look at that. We're going to start on the A note here on the 2nd fret of the G string. So 2, and then you could either go 0, 2, 3 right there, or you could go 4, 2, 3. So it's to the 2, back to the 4, and 2 on the G string. 4, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2. Now we're moving up to the G note down here. We're going to go 0, 2, 3, 2, and this is chromatic. We're going to go 1 to open, and then here I go like 0, 2, 3. You could do the 4, 2, 3. And then 2, open, and 2 back on the G. So one more time we get. It's just kind of easy coming from that open of the string to hit the 0, 2, 3 on the 2nd string. Okay, let's count that in. So it kind of comes in on an upbeat. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, it comes in before that on the end of the 4th beat. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. See how that happens? So that would be one thing to get you more style points on doing it the authentic way there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're G, 2, 3, and A. So that does that for a while, and then hits the A. We're back to another verse. So let's count that in again. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll keep that going just a little bit. Now we have this melody. Okay, so let's break that down. And it also has a harmony coming up next. It's the third of that. So we're gonna have open, open on the G, and then 2, 4 on the D, back to open, open on the G. So that's our first thing we got. And then we have the 2, 4 again. We're gonna get into this run. So 0, 2, 4, 2, 0, 4. So we got 0, 2, 4, 2, 0, 4, and then 2, 4, 0, 2, 0, 4. So that part was. Okay, and that's the whole first half of it. So now we go 2, 2, 2, 4, 2, 2, 2, 4. Now here we're gonna go. You could just go, kind of just pull off, but if you can get the hammer on, it's kind of cool. So we're kind of barring these two, the second and third strings. Hammer on, pull off to the 2. And then 5 on the second string, if you can reach that. Pull off to the 2, back to that 2. So it's, like I said, you can make it a little simpler by going. But it's still a bit of a stretch and a bit of a thing to try to make all that happen. But it's real good practice. Get that stretching for your hand there if you can't do that kind of stuff right now. Be a good one to practice. Okay, so once again, that second half of that on the 2s was. And of course, these take a bit of practice. So the first one again, we got. Okay, and just practice those nice and slow until you get them. And how about this? I'll play that one more time. You guys play the chords. So jump in on these chords right here on the G. And you keep the chords going, and I'll play that riff. We can play it together. Okay. All right, so let's look at the harmony one. Starts on the second string. Open, open, O, 2 on the G, open, open. And then O, 2, 3, 2, O, 2. Like super similar to the other one. It's just slightly different in the fingerings and stuff. And then you get 2, 2, 2, 4, 2, 2. Now here we're going to have hammer on, pull off, O, 2, O in the E. To the 2 here, 5, O, pull off on the E. To the 2. Back to the open. Okay, and just take your time with that. I got the tabs on these, so make sure you download the tabs or look at them at the end of the video so you can practice with that. Okay, so one more thing we're going to look at is the little intro solo. So I'm just going to give you the first couple of riffs on this one. So it's 7, 6, 5, double pull off on the second string, and then 5, and then 5 hammer to 7 to little 5. So it's. Now we're going to go 5, 7 again, quick hammer, 7 back to 5. So. Now the second half is second string. So we had 5, 5 again, hammer to 7, little 5. And then 2 more 5s, quick hammer and back, 5 to 7. So we got. right, so this is part 2 of Reelin in the Years. We're going to break down that intro solo. We're also going to talk about how to improvise over the G to E progression. So that G to E thing is... Okay, so we're going to show the first solo here. We got... So we have 7, 6, 5, double pull off on the second string. And then 2 5s, and you got a hammer on that second 5. Little 5, 5 to 7 here. Quick hammer, back to 5. So we got... The next part is... So that starts on the second string, 5, 5, 7, little 5. 2 more little 5s, hammer and back, so. Now we're going to hit that hammer again. That was a quick slide, 4 to 5 on the G string, big 2. Now we're going to have a 2 and a hammer to the 4 and to the 2 of the G. And then we get into a... So this is tricky. It's a 4, 5, 4, 2. You're trying to do a hammer on, pull off, pull off. To the 4, we're going to do that 4 times. So all together we got... So that was 2 2s up here, the top 2. Hammering into just the 4, the big one. Little 3 2 down there. 2 2. So 3 2 on the second, 2 on the G, 2 on the D. Now we're going to do the whole thing again. So we got... So we're going to have a 4 to 2. Slide the 4 to 6 with the middle finger. So the first finger is free to hit those 5s there, and that's part of an A shape right there. So we got... Now we're going to slide into a G shape. 4, 3, 3. 7 and 7. That's 11 to 10 right there. So once more through the whole thing. Now we're going to slide up way into this 15. So ding, ding, dee-dee-dee, and then we're starting to get into a... So we got... It's like a pull off and then 2 more notes. And then it's either a pull off or a slide and then 2 more notes. Same on the next. So you end up going 15, 14, 12, 10, 9, 7, 5, 3. When you get to that one, 3, 3, 3, 3, 0, 3, 3, 5, and then 3, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 5. Okay, so we'll go from here again. We got... Okay, so the tricky part, you got 4, 5, 6, 5, 5, 1 5 and a hammer. Little bend on that little 7. 5, 5, 7, 6, 2. So once again, we'll play the little loop here. Okay, now we're going to talk about the scales you use to improvise over this. So we have the A Mixolydian scale, starts on the A note here, 2, 4, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 5. Now if you wanted to add more notes to that, you could go down here and include these other notes too. So O2, 4, O2, and you could do the open here, or you could do the 4 there, same thing. So we got okay, so that's your A Mixolydian. That scale will get you through this. You could also look at this scale as G Lydian and start it on a G note, because the progression does start with G. So to sound the best, you kind of want to see where your G's are within that. And we could look at it as G Lydian, open 2, 3, open 2, 3. But you also have those other notes we talked about. Okay, we can also get up in here and start on a G. Go 5, 7, 9, 6, 7, 9, 7, 8, 10, 7, 9, 10. Gives us access to a lot of higher notes there. So I'm going to get this loop going again and show you how to kind of improvise with these scales. So here comes the G chord. There's an A note to go with the A chord. G. See, that's a note from an A chord right there, so it sounds good at that point. So these are triads. That's an A triad and a G triad. Switch to G there, to the A. You can also look at it as major pentatonic. So here's the A major. That's the G major there. Okay, so how about I get the chords going and you guys do some improving, and I'll give you some little tips and pointers as we go, all right? All right, so how about get started on one of your G notes, wherever you want. Here's another G note, and we'll try to improv with these scales a little bit. A 2, 3, and. Think about that shape of the A, and if you can land on one of those notes, see how it's like opens here, and then it's 2s. If you can land on the 2s when I'm playing the A chord, it's gonna sound real good. You also got that little 5 down there. You got the little 3. And then we get into these shapes. For G, you can see those bottom 3s down there. See those 5s down there. Alright, so that was Reelin in the Ears, part 2. The intro solo note for note, plus how to improv on the G to A progression. Thanks a lot for watching, y'all. We'll see you soon. All right, this is going to be Peg by Steely Dan. So Steely Dan is known for some really complicated songs. So this one does have its complicated stuff, but it's fairly simple for Steely Dan songs. And we're going to take it nice and slow. So let's look at the intro. We got some cool little riffs we can play in this intro too. So the first thing we're going to do open on the third string and a 3 and a 2. That's like a G major 7 chord. So we're going to play that first little chord there, open, 3 and 2. And then we're going to have this little riff. Second string, 5, 3, 5. So we got. And then we're going to do this F shape on the second fret here. So 2, 2, 3, and 4 in the big one, F sharp. So we're going to play that chord, then we're going to go. So that's 2, 5. You could use your pinky if you want. You could also go, if you wanted to go 2 and then open 2 down here. But the way I wrote it was 2, 5, 2, 5, 2. Okay, so that's going to be the F sharp chord. And you could do a little hammer there if you want, or you could go like I say. Okay, so let's look at those two. We got the G major 7, and then 5, 3, 5, and then F sharp with the 2 5s. And then we're going to do F major 7, 3, 2, 1, open. And then we're going to have 1, 3, 1. Now we're going to do this E7 sharp 9. This is like an E chord, but we're going to put 2 3s down here with our pinky if we can. You could use these 2 fingers if you want to. So that's an E7 sharp 9, kind of like a Jimi Hendrix chord. And that's going to go with, so O, 3, O, 3, O. Now we're going to move into this one. This is maybe the hardest one of this set. It's like a 5, 3, and 6. Sometimes I'll use that middle finger there. It's kind of an E flat, add 9 we're going for. 5, 3, and 6 on the second string. And that one's going to go 3 on the third to 1 on the second and back. Then we have one more chord in this intro here. 4, 5, and 6. That's a D7 sharp 9. And that's going to end with, once again, 4, 5, 6, top strings. That's going to end with. So that's 2 on the third, 1 and 3 on the second, and then a hammer-on pull-off. O, 1, O on the first string to the 3. That's our whole intro. So let's look at that again. So G major 7, O, 3, and 2. And then 5, 3, 5. And then we're going to make that F shape on the second fret, F sharp. And we have our 2 5s. And then we're going to the F major 7, 3, 2, 1, open. And we're going to go 1, 3, 1 on the second string. And then we have the E7 sharp 9, 2, 1, 3, 3. And we have our O 3s. Then we have the E flat one, that's just 5, 3, and 6. And we have 3, 1, 3. Let's do that one again. So 5, 3, and 6. And then a 3, 1, 3. Then we have the 4, 5, 6, the D7 sharp 9. And we're going to do the 2, 1, 3 thing. Okay, so this is all in the tab too, so check that out. Now we're into the pre-verse. This is where we start playing the chords. Okay, so this is like a D minor shape that you know from over here, but it's up here, so it's like 4, 5, and 3 on the bottom 3 strings. We're not playing the big one. So we're doing 2 of these, and then we're going to a chord that has 2, 3, and 3. So I'm using this finger to get 2 3s and this one to get a 2. So it does that 2 times before the verse starts, and the verse is going to do that 4 more times. And then we're going to take those same chords up higher. So when we started this one, we had the first finger on the 3rd fret. We're going to go up 5 frets. We're going to be on the 8th fret now with the first finger with that same shape. And to the same other shape too. We're going to do that twice, and then we're back here twice. And then we're going to go all the way to the 10th fret with the first finger on that same chord. And do that once, and then to the 8th. Do that one, and then we're back here. Okay, so that is the verse of Peg. We're going to do the whole verse again at this point. So we got 4 of these. And then we're going up to the 8th fret. And then and then we're back twice. Way up to the 10th fret with the first finger. And then the 8th. Back to the 3rd fret. Okay, then we're on to the chorus. The chorus is going to go one of these to one of those. So instead of two, that first one, just one. So like, hey, and then. So this new one is like 2 open and 3. It's like an A7 sus. Do that one twice. And then this is an E sus. We're doing like 2, 2, and open. So we got the first thing, and then A sus to E sus, and then those first chords again, and the same thing. Then we're going to have a new one. We're going to have A major to C, and then we're going to have G to F sharp, but you might want to do the G like this. That way you can just go from one to the next, because you already got to get this one eventually. So I wrote them both down. You could do an open G to an F sharp, or you could do this G bar chord to an F sharp bar chord. So once again, the chorus, we're going to have Peg, we'll come back to you. I'm going to do that again. Then we have A major to C, and then G to F sharp. Then we're going to have B minor, 4, 4, 3, 2, to that E7 sharp 9 chord, 2, 1, 3, 3. Let's do that one again. So we got B minor to E7 sharp 9. Then we're going to have the top 3 5s, A minor 7 to this D9 sus thing that's going to be down here. It's going to go 9, 8, and 10. So 10 on the bottom, 9 on the 3rd string, 8 on the 2nd string. So that's going to go. And then we're back to the. So let's do the whole chorus again. We got this C major 7 to this G9. So we're going. Then we got the A sus to E sus. Do it again. Then we got A to C. Then we have B minor to E7 sharp 9, or the kind of Jimi Hendrix Purple Haze chord. So B minor, Purple Haze, and then A minor to this D9 thing up here. 9, 8, and 10. And then we're back to this. Now we're going to have a new break. This is going to be F sharp minor, 4, 2, 2, 2, to B minor, to E minor 7, 2, 0, 3, 0. Back to B minor, to C major 7, which is 5, 4, 5, 3. So that part goes like. And then we're back to the intro. So let's look at that break once again. We got F sharp minor, B minor, E minor 7, B minor again, and then this C major 7, which is 5, 4, 5, and 3. So. And then we're back to the intro. And then we're back to these. Okay, and then you just have another verse. You have like a guitar solo there, then it's followed by another verse. Then you have a whole bunch of choruses. So there's one other thing I wanted to get into. There's a little guitar riff that's behind all these verses that has a cool little thing to it. It's like. Okay, so it's like the first thing that happens is there's an 8th note rest. So it's like, and then the riff starts. So it's like 1, da 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 da. On the and of the 1 is where this riff starts. So it's like 1. So that's 7 to 9 on the G string, and then this 8 on the 2nd string. So you do all these in a row. You go 1. It's like a 1 and a 2 E and a 1 and a 2 E and a. So 1 and a 2 E and a. And it has a little 8 back to 9 back to 8. 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so let's do it real slow. 3, 4, 1. 1. 1. 1. Okay, and then basically there's some variations of that, but what we're gonna do when we get to the next chord change is, here we have the 8-10 on the second string, so we go 1. And it's the same type of thing, we're dealing with 8s and 10s now. So we got 1. So there's a little variation on this second one. Once the verse starts, we're gonna have the basic one once, I'm calling that A, 3, 4, 1. So that's part A. Now part B is a slightly embellishment. 3, 4, 1. So that was little 7, 10, and 8 at the end of that measure. 1. Okay, then we go back to part A, 1. And part B again. Now we're down to this lower one. 1. Now this has a little variation, one extra note at the end. I'm calling this next one part D. 1. So it just has an extra little 10 there. So this part C and D again, where we move to the higher chord, 1. And then D. And then we're back to the first one, 1. And then we have a little variation with an extra note at the end on this one. This is part E, 1. Now we're going all the way to the 10th fret, 1. Kind of a standard one there. And then we're going to the lower one, 1. Now we're going to what I call part E, 1. Has the little ending note. And then the very last thing here is going to be 1. So a little faster up to the 7 here. Okay, that's the first ending. We'd be into the second verse and it would all start over again. So I'll do it quick through this whole next verse. It's going to have a slightly different ending to go into the chorus and then we'll be all done. So we got 1. Okay, so that was the first ending. Now the second ending is going to be, so we're going to take it from the highest chord here. Okay, so that last one's a cool little slidey thing, 6 to 7. Hit the 7 again. 10 on the second, 10 to 8. So from the high note again. All right, Peg by Steely Dan. Hope you dug that. Like I said, this has a tab. You can download it. You can look at it at the end of the video, whichever you prefer. Thanks for watching Damon's Baritone Uke Joint. Let me know if you have any requests, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, here goes a lesson on Rikki Don't Lose That Number by Steely Dan. We got this little intro. We got 2 on the big string and 4 on the G string. Okay, then we're gonna get into this. So we got 2, 4, 4, 2, 2, 4, 4, 2, and then we got one more 2 there you could hit. You could leave that out if you want to help you get up here in time. But what we have up here is the 2 middle strings, the G and the B. We've got 7s. And then we got 6, 5, 4, 3, 2s, 2 and 2. So. Okay, so kind of 3 times of that run. A little different ending. Go back to that 4, 3 and hold it. Then we're going to have D to A to E. And your basic strumming pattern is like bum, 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 we're gonna do that E twice there. And then the next time we're gonna go D to A to E. Then we're gonna go, and that's like a C sharp 6 6 6 to 4s to a B there. Now you can hit it just once, or you can kind of hit like twice. Back to D to A, E. Now this time on the E, we can throw in that little cool riff. So 2 to 1 on the G, 2 to 4 on the D, back to that 1 on the G. And then F sharp minor to A. We got that cool little riff there. Now we don't have the lowest note that we would need like on a guitar, so we're going to start with the B string down here. Then we're going to the 1 and 1. 1 on the big string, 1 on the G string. To the 2 on the G string, to the 3 on the B string. So let's look at that again. Little B string open, 1 1 2 3, and then we're going to go back to the 1 2 to the 2 on the big one. So it's going to end up being, that gets us into the chorus. So let's look at what we got so far. We got the intro. And there's that last 2 if you can fit it in. Verse, D, A, E twice, D to A, E once, and then we got the C sharp to B, D to A, E, and then we got this little riff, and then we got F sharp minor to A, and our riff, and then our chord. Okay, so that's like a E7-9. So it's a 2 1 3 2. Kind of like 2 bars of that, and then to G, A, back to G, D. Twice on that D. Then we're going to C, twice on C, E minor, back to C, A. So the chorus we got G, 2 bars each, A, 1 bar, back to G, 2 bars of D, C, 2 bars, E minor, and then C, A. So that was the A sus, where we have to just have 2 2 open open. It's all about hammering into that 2nd fret of the 2nd string to get an A chord to finish it. So it's like a sus to an A regular. And then we're back to this. 4 times. Back into a verse. D to A, same stuff. E twice. D to A to E once. We got that C sharp to B. D, A, E again. And then we got that little riff. F sharp minor to A. And our riff. So once again, that's a B string open, 2nd string, and then big string, 1, and then 1 on the G string, to 2, 3, 1, 2, 2. And then we got chorus chord, E9, G, A, back to G, D, and you can use whatever G and A you like. C, E minor, C, A, and then sus, riff, 4 times. Now here's the guitar solo. We're going to start out kind of like a verse. D to A, E twice, D to A, now G to G twice, then F major 7, G major 7, F major 7, E minor 7, D, A, E twice. And then we're on to the bridge. Let's look at that guitar solo again. We're gonna have. Now we're going G twice. F major 7, which is 3, 2, 1, open. Quick to the G major 7, 0, 0, 0, 2. So 1 bar each on those. So when we have we go to the G, 2 bars, and then we start going 1 bar. F major 7, G major 7, F major 7, E minor 7, which is 2, 0, 3, 0, and then D, back to A, back to E twice. Now we have the bridge. Now the bridge I recommend okay, so for the bridge, you could do an A major 7, which could be like 2, 1, 2, 0. But then we need a G sharp minor 7. So you might do a major 7 like this. You don't have the correct bass, you don't have the A bass, but it's right there in that area for your next chord. So a lot of times on baritone uke, we can't always get the bass we want, you know, but we just do the best we can with what we got. So you could do an A major 7. This doesn't have an A bass either, but you would have to jump kind of all the way up here. So it might make more sense to do it here. So this would be like 6, 6, 5, 4 to the 6, 4, 4, 4. And then back to the first one, A major 7. And then here we're going to go 6, 4, 5, 4. That's supposed to be like a C sharp minor 7. Then we're going to go to F sharp minor, to A, like we did before, and then the riff. And then we're back to the chorus. E7, 9 to G, 2 bars each. And then A, 1 bar back to G. And then 2 bars of D, 2 bars of C, 2 bars E minor, 1 bar C to A, and then sus, and you're back to your riff. And that's your ending right there, your outro. So I think the most complicated parts are really the solo and the bridge. Let's look at that solo again. Do do do, down down, down down, gotta love that solo simulation. Bridge. Then we got our chorus again. C to A sus. Back to our riff, going out. Rikki, don't lose that number. Steely Dan. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you soon.